and not talking politics. And by the way, I'm sure that you had a great time with Vicky Vic on sports on Eagles Wings. Now, this is Eagles Outlook, where we look at, burning issues on the front burner. And we know, of course, that momentum is already building up ahead of 2027 general elections. However, there is a conversation that, needs to be treated very seriously and not with kids' gloves, right? We're looking at a topical issue that concerns you, that concerns each and every one of us, from parents to the children to the youth that we have in our society. Let's see if we can actually, make our society a better place for each and every one of us to thrive. Just yesterday, there was a publication. As a matter of fact, it was a major news story or headline on the Guardian newspaper talking about the number of, suicide death cases recorded in Nigeria, on a yearly basis. And the numbers are quite alarming, mind-boggling and disturbing, if you like. We're looking at 15,000 suicide deaths annually. And this is as a result of stigma and criminalization of attempted, suicide, cases in Nigeria. All of these, they have somewhat exacerbated the crisis. My name is Omo Ifepiso Semere, and just like I had trailed before now, that I will be having this conversation with a mental health expert. She is Coach Tega. She's right here in the studios. I'd like to encourage parents, the youth, to join in on the conversation this morning so you can lend your voice. I mean, this should be of utmost concern to you as a Nigerian citizen. So Coach Tega, if you must know, is a passionate mental health advocate, recovery coach, and the founder of a Flourish Life Center, a faith-based trauma-informed rehabilitation facility for women. And through her work, she has helped many find healing, rebuild resilience, and also rediscover purpose beyond addiction and mental health struggles. She brings a wealth of experience in recovery, empowerment, and advocacy. So she's just the right person for this conversation this morning. Coach Tega, it's good to have you in the studios. Good morning to you.
Thank you. It's good to be here as well. I'm super happy to be here to have this conversation.
All right. And you're looking really good this morning. All right. So here's a quick background to the conversation, dear listener. Nigeria records approximately 15,000 suicide deaths annually, with the stigma and criminalization of attempted suicide exacerbating the crisis. Now, the country's laws, particularly Section 327 of the Criminal Code Act, which punishes attempted suicide with imprisonment for up to 1 year, have been criticized for being counterproductive. And this has led to calls for decriminalization, with, psychiatrists and mental health advocates arguing that treatment, not punishment, is necessary for those struggling with, suicidal thought. And in quick response to that, we understand that the federal government, has reaffirmed its commitment to decriminalizing attempted suicide in Nigeria, setting December 2025 as the target date for the reform. The coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, disclosed this on Wednesday at a press briefing in Abuja to mark the 2025 World Suicide Prevention Day, themed changing the narrative on suicide and creating hope through action. Through action. Now, globally, September 10 is observed to raise awareness on suicide and strengthen efforts to prevent avoidable death. Now, here is an estimate, from the World Health Organization that more than 720,000 people die from suicide annually, making it the third leading cause of death among 15 to 29-year-olds. In Nigeria, if we're accounting for 15,000 on a yearly basis, then it goes to, tell you that something is really wrong. Now, I've been forced to ask, a couple of questions. I mean, especially when I saw the figures yesterday, 15,000 deaths annually. What exactly could be the problem? What exactly is the issue? Is it hunger? Is it poverty? Is it the economic hardship? Is it peer pressure or low self-esteem? I really don't get it. But I'm sure that from your wealth of experience, you're probably privy to some of the factors that could most likely trigger, suicide attempts.
First of all, 15,000 is a serious number.
Right.
And I dare say that the numbers are more.
Okay.
Because these are only reported cases.
Right.
And many, many cases go unreported. And of course, we know because of stigma and cultural biases and all of that. So what are some of the factors that can cause this? We know that mental health disorders are a serious driver.
Right.
Like, for instance, depression, anxiety. Then if you add economic hardship, if you add domestic violence, if you add financial hardship, if you add peer pressure, if you add social media comparisons, we have a dangerous mix.
Okay.
So there are too many things that you can look at the factor. It's not a one something fits all. What's that word?
Yeah,
again?
one size fits all.
It's not a one size fits all situation. Different things can cause it. Some people is mental health disorder, some people is the things that they have to deal with. And I think that before a person would decide that they want to take their own life, they must have come to a place of hopelessness, complete despair, hopelessness and helplessness. There are many people who would take their lives actively.
Okay.
And then there are people who want to die by default, who want to take their own lives passively by default. And so many of these numbers go unreported, and some people, do you know that most people are actually afraid? I know someone who was, facing a lot of hardship, he just felt like life had dealt him heavy blows. And with all the things he was doing, being diabetic, being hypertensive,
wow,
but he was still drinking alcohol, smoking, drinking soft drinks, eating everything that could get you to a point of,
breaking down,
fatality.
Yeah.
And then someone said, "We're very worried about you." And he looked at them and said, "Well, there's nothing to look forward to, but I don't have the courage to take my own life." That is passively.
Yeah.
He's actually thinking about taking his own life, but he doesn't have the courage to. So he's doing all the things he shouldn't do to make sure that, well, if he dies by default. But they will not say, it's probably even a religious reason he's saying, "I don't want to take my life," because there's some religious beliefs that say that when you take your life, you're going to hell. So maybe he doesn't want to go to hell. And then you've gone through hell on earth. You now go to hell in heaven. Well, afterlife. So he probably is thinking, well, let my life just
end on its own,
ooze out of me.
Yeah. Wow. Now, when you hear cases like this, when you hear cases like this, you begin to wonder the age, of people that are most likely going to, consider, attempting suicide. In terms of hardship, we all are actually, facing the brunt at this point in time. Okay, let me not say we all, maybe most of us are facing the brunt at this point in time. Then social media comparison, just like you said, it could be very, very, common, amongst the youth. But as a mental health expert, what exactly do you think, is making a number of Nigerian youth to be so restless in such a way that when they come online, they see things, the flashy lifestyle, the luxury and everything that people are putting forth on social media, and then they just get pressured. What exactly is triggering that pressure?
So first of all, young people are actually vulnerable, especially the age gap that you gave, that's 15 to what, 29? First of all, 15-year-olds, their brains are still developing up until, your 20s, early 20s, thereabouts. So that they're vulnerable. Their emotions are all over the place. They're still finding ways to, find themselves, their hormones and all of that. Now, as much as we'll say that, it has to do with them, it's important to know that suicide does not discriminate. It doesn't discriminate. Even adults are under this kind of pressure as well. I always say when I go to teach in either schools or boot camps, I tell them that you cannot afford to compare your life, the entirety of your life, with 10 minutes or one post of someone's life on social media.
Right.
Everybody puts their best foot forward. So this, as much as we want to say that the pressure is real, they say the pressure is getting worse.
It's getting worse.
So if the pressure is real, it's getting, really worse.
Right.
We need to start reaffirming to people that there's something called values over popularity. It's not real life. I'm not going to put, when I'm I try to make it a bit comic when you're talking to young people, because when you're comical, they tend to remember. So I say, if you wake up in the morning, you know how you have this line on your face, like maybe like speed,
yes,
you now dry up. I say, have you ever seen someone put that on social media? Have you noticed that when you put a picture on social media, if 3 people like it out of your 100,000 followers, you take the picture down? They said yes. I said, because you are looking for popularity and likes, and these people don't really, they're not real people that like you. They may like you on social media. It doesn't mean that that's the definition of your life. So as much as we try to have these conversations with them and reiterate it, reiteration is so important. I mean, you hear and then somehow it sinks into your subconscious. We need to have those conversations. Even adults, it happens to adults as well. I know someone who told her mom outright. Now the boy is 15-year-old, and his mom told him if he did well in his exams, she was going to buy him an iPhone 15. An iPhone 15, some people's salary for a year is that iPhone 15.
Right.
And then the mother actually did buy the phone. But the boy did excellently in his exams, and that was his reward for that. A child who is from a family who can't afford that comes and sees her classmates with that, does not know the dynamics behind that phone, doesn't know, I mean, even the economic strength of your parents is not the same with the boy's parent. And then you now decide that, your life is over because you don't have the same phone, and your phone is a phone that, you need to slap it for it to wake up, that kind of thing. And then you just think, oh no, my life is over, my life is useless, my life is hopeless. We must keep telling them this. I have a 3-year-old, and I don't know which cartoon he watched, and then he came one day and I asked, he just looked at me and said, Mom, I'm sad. I said, what happened? He said, I can't do it all by myself. I said, what can't you do by yourself? So I started at that age of 3. I am strong, I am smart, I can do anything. We say it every day. I taught him so many times, and then now when I say I am strong, he completes the remaining sentences, because it's easy. It's not the entirety of my life. I have my ups, I have my downs, I have my very not so good days.
Right.
I have days, because that's normal with every human being.
Okay. Now, your missions are having conversations with the awards. Like you're beginning to look at, we have a situation where parents are so busy, maybe just to put food on the table and all of that, and they get carried away. So when a child is gradually sliding into depression, they are not even aware. Before you realize, or before you know it, it's too late.
True. So everybody's trying to catch up, so it looks like they're making something out of the child. I never understood it until I had a child, really. I'd be like, what's going on? They don't have now, calm down. But when your child comes to you and says, Mama, I want this thing, you can't afford it. If you can afford it tomorrow, it's a different thing as to, I may never be able to afford this
it,
because there are other bills that are, I mean, there's a list of priority. However, more parents are working more jobs.
Right.
In fact, you see some people have a 9 to 5 and they're still doing remote jobs, because we must make ends meet. We must find ways to make ends meet. Inflation hit us suddenly, and so it took a dramatic turn in a lot of people's finances. So people that have to work more to be able to get the basics. Do you understand? So a parent is going through that until you realize that you have to regulate your own emotions and prioritize your time and your life. Our children will keep slipping out of our hands.
But how do you strike a balance as a mom?
It is time management mostly. So, in all honesty, there is always something on the slab of sacrifice.
Right.
We must sacrifice something for something. So if you're going to wake up at 4 a.m., okay, your child has to go to school by 7, and then you now have to wake up by 4 to make sure there's food on the table, everybody's ready, bath and everything. You're going to have to go to bed a bit earlier.
Yeah.
Because if you don't go to bed earlier, you're going to sacrifice sleep. And they say the shorter your sleep, the shorter your life. So your health is going to suffer on that end.
Right.
And then you get up, you're into the day, you're running up and down and doing everything that you need to do. So it's either your health suffers, or you decide that you want to sleep well and your child will go to school late, you will go to school late, or you will not cook what you need to cook. Something has to give. So as much as we can, the balance is, I know I have to go to bed early. Now let me tell you a typical day for me now. last night I knew I had to be up this morning by 4 because I had a couple of things I needed to do,
right,
and be out of the house for 7:30 a.m. I needed to also be on a mentorship program at 4:30 a.m. So I woke up at past 4 a.m. and then as I was in that mentorship, and it's not the kind of thing that you can get up and be doing, washing plates and listening. In all honesty, I always say that when you want to do deep work, you focus on one thing at a time.
Right.
So I'm seated there, and then anything comes to my head, I'm writing it down. When I'm done, I get up. When I was done, it's ended at 7 a.m. I ran into the bath. Well, my son hasn't resumed school today.
Yeah.
I ran into the bath to make sure that I had to come out, get some things. I told you I had a meeting earlier than before I came here. But that meant I had to sleep earlier, because if I didn't sleep earlier, my alarm will go off at 4. But when it goes off at 4, I may say, let me snooze and sleep 10 minutes. I'll wake up at 7.
Right.
Because you'll be tired. So
Absolutely.
I had to sleep at 9 p.m., which meant that, so if you had, and the honest truth is, so we have times that we can feel things in. Many times we're scrolling on social media mindlessly. At times when we could have done something quickly productive that will be able to take up the time that we really don't have. So for women at work, you will work, you will take care of your home, you will be the wife. At some point you will be ma, and you still have other things to do. It's just prioritizing.
Also, the father does not have a role to play.
Oh, fathers have a role. You asked about mothers. That's why when the fathers must have a role. Excuse us. They must have a role. You will help me. If you don't have a house help, as I'm sweeping, you're washing plates. As I'm washing plates, you're sweeping. Or you watch the child while I'm doing it. So it's not like I am now going to be backing my child, cooking soup with one hand. The other hand, I'm using it to sweep something. Your brain will just be screaming for help.
Right.
So yes, that's why it's a collaboration. But of course, there are single mothers that have to deal with this. There are single fathers that have to deal with it. Sometimes you get a help in the house that's going to help you. They help sometimes come with their own drama. So it now looks like you now have extra,
workload,
stress that you have to deal with. So we have to just find a way to balance. Everyone knows the balance that works for them.
Okay.
Some people will say, I will find a way, put the child to sleep, then I'll quickly run and go and do my work. Some people say, get a house help, back your child. Everybody has what works for them.
Charity, they say, begins at home, right? But it shouldn't end there. Now, when our kids leave our presence, every weekday they go to school, we expect their teacher to also play a role.
Sure.
The teachers, religious leaders, and even traditional leaders, if you like. But would you say the teachers have been able to contribute their quota?
So like I always say when I'm doing training for teachers, I tell them that, well, as much as you want to say that parents are not doing a lot, is this thing a collabo? Everybody has a part to play. You as the teacher has a role to play in the upbringing of that child, because they spend a lot of time in school. Have you noticed how children, when you give them assignments and you're trying to help them at home, they'll say, no, my teacher said, in their mind, their teacher is God. So the teachers have a huge role to play. However, we see these days, I watched a podcast, and this woman, Ronke Posh in Lagos, and she said something. She said there is a new epidemic that we have, which is students bullying teachers because of the economic strength of their parents. So these days, some teachers are just silent. Sometimes you see on social media, a parent has gone to school to beat a teacher.
Yeah.
So why would the teacher really want to discipline your child? I'm not talking about flogging a child. I'm talking about instilling discipline. Discipline is not beating a child. Discipline is teaching a child to be disciplined. You understand? But if you have parents coming to warn you, don't touch my child, or even the children. In fact, I was chatting with someone. I put something on my status one day, and someone said to me that she taught in that same school, and that one day she was trying to correct one of the children, and the boy, his friend told him, he say, go tell her, say you get how much money. I have to look for that chat. Told him that how much money he had in his account. He said, tell her, say you could give her 100K, make she calm down. SS1 child.
Wow.
That his friend told him, tell her, so you go dash her 100K, make she calm down. So when you have children really thinking that money is all that matters to their teachers, that kind of teacher, how much is her salary? Is it up to 100K?
Wow. It's a lot, honestly. I mean, if you put everything together, it is a lot. Now, You are the founder of Flourish Life Center,
Yes, I
if
am.
I'm not mistaken. I'm just wondering at this point in time, are there outreaches that you've actually embarked on just to like help, sensitize people on the need for, mental health, awareness and why people should take their mental health seriously? I mean, before it would degenerate to the state where one would want to, attempt suicide.
So yes, I have done quite a number of things, and one thing that my specialty, my space is substance use recovery.
Okay.
And substance use is something that actually increases impulsive behavior, and we know that when people have a mental health disorder, they can co-occur with a substance use, disorder as well. So yes, we have had outreaches, many school outreaches, a few community outreaches. I've done an awareness walk before,
Okay.
and these are the things that we need to have conversations about. Silence, the cultural, the silence that we have when it comes to mental health disorders is one of the reasons why people don't open up. People are afraid of being stigmatized. I had an ailment once, that was in 2019, and then when I came out of the hospital, I was there for 21 days. Afterwards, I started having anxiety attacks,
Wow.
and then quickly it became a panic attack. So when I was having those attacks, I went to the hospital one day for a checkup, and then my doctor saw me, and I told her, I said, I think I'm having anxiety attacks. And she said to me, let me give you a number of a psychiatrist that you could speak with. This
Yeah.
was in 2019. And this was the reason I got into mental health, by the way.
Okay.
So when she told me, let me talk to a psychiatrist, I'm like, okay, ma, thank you. As soon as she turned her back, I remember looking, I will never forget. I can tell you what I was wearing, where I was standing. And I said, see this one. In her mind, now I'm mad. I should see a psychiatrist. And that's the general
Perception
response
that
and
people-
perception
yeah,
that people
yeah.
have. That if you see a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or a mental health professional, that means you have a mental health disorder.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that you are mad. It means that you actually are trying to optimize your own well-being. That's just what it means. So if we stop having this, perception that is only for people who are not, and even if you have it, listen, we always say there's a quote that says there's no health without mental health. If you're not well mentally, you are not well. That is the year I understood that quote. I'd heard it before, I've used it loosely, but when that thing happened to me, immediately I called my therapist, and we were going through what was going on with me, and afterwards I realized that I needed to know more about this. That's how I got into this space 6
Okay.
years ago.
Wow.
So important. There's no health without mental health.
Right.
So if people just talk about it more, then you will know. The statistics say 1 in 4 people at any point in time will have a mental health disorder. So now let's say we're 4 in this studio. That means that right now one person is going through, and I mean there's a wide spectrum. It can
Right.
go from mild to severe, and there are very, many health disorders, mental health disorders that people
Yeah.
have. And there's anxiety, there's panic attacks, there's schizophrenia, there is depression. Even depression, we use it loosely. When something happens, I'm like, I'm depressed.
Right.
So we should have these conversations more.
Yeah.
If 1 in 4 people will have a mental health disorder, that means it's very prevalent.
Okay.
So why are we now making it sound like, oh, if you have it, that means your village people are after you?
You. I mean, it's just the typical Nigerian, notion that if you have to see a psychiatrist, then you need to pray.
Pray.
Yes, you need to pray, because it could be that they've shot an arrow, from the
you,
village
the
and
village
what have
people,
you.
they have caught
All
you.
right, you can be part of the conversation, dear listener, by calling 09073530044 or 09087668888. We're here exploring factors, contributing to suicide death in Nigeria. Do you think it's the fault of the parents? Do you think it's the government, not coming up with policies that have, human face, and that's why people are just finding it difficult to even live life, and they just end up, taking their own lives? Let's hear from you. Hello, good morning. Hello, are you there? Good morning. I really can't hear you. I don't know what's going on, but we'll just take a quick break now to go pay some bills. Hopefully, when we come back, we can take calls on this particular studio line. But in the meantime, you can send your contributions to the WhatsApp portal number. It could come in the form of a message or a voice note. The WhatsApp studio number is 090-9705-4450. Once again, 090-9705-4450. Do join us again.
Oh, what did they happen now? No bonus for all my line.
No panic, as MTN don't carry better gist come. Every 6 minutes you talk, MTN go dash you 3 extra minutes. Fiam to enter MTN better gist. Dial *123 *2 *1 hash or text BG to 312. T and C's apply.
This is Nigeria, where every new day brings a fresh chance to dream bigger, push harder, and live confidently. But true confidence is more than hope. It's knowing that no matter where you are, no matter who you are, you're protected, empowered, and ready for the journey ahead. At Sanlam Alliance, we believe confidence isn't just for a few, it's the right of everyone. That's why we have come together, uniting the strength of a Pan-African giant and a global leader to give you the financial protection and solutions you need to succeed. Because when we come together, we protect more, we achieve more, and we all rise together. Sanlam and Alliance is now Sanlam Alliance. Sanlam Alliance. Live with confidence.
Fly Emirates to 5 destinations in the Chinese mainland: Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Hangzhou, and Shenzhen. And discover new trade hubs. Relax in comfort on board with our world-class hospitality. Explore up to 6,500 channels of entertainment. And stay connected with free Wi-Fi. With daily flights from Lagos to the Chinese mainland via Dubai, you can enjoy convenient travel that fits around your business schedule. Fly Emirates. Fly better.
Hello Abuja. Did you know that with just a deposit of 1.5 million, you can lock down an exotic getaway to Qatar with Victoria Sea Travels? Yes, this trip costs 2.8 million naira, but with a deposit of 1.5 million, you can secure your spot now. This exotic trip will take place from the 3rd of October to the 9th of October 2025. The flight, 5-star luxury hotel, tours, everything is sorted just for you. Zero visa stress and no travel history needed. But hurry, this deposit offer ends on the 15th of September 2025. Do not miss this. Remember, this trip costs only 2.8 million naira. You can call or WhatsApp 081-4518-5515. Again, 081-4518-5515 or 070-5249-9495 or send us a DM on Instagram at Victoria Seed Travels. You can visit us at Suite 201, Nawa Complex by Next Cash and Carry, Kado, Abuja. Victoria Seed Travels, your plug for thrilling adventures and unbeatable travel deals.
The African University of Science and Technology, Abuja, AUST, announces that admissions are now open for application into our remedial and A-level JUPE programs for 100-level and direct 200-level admission. Professional diplomas in data science, artificial intelligence, Cisco and AWARE certification, project management, construction management, and more. Undergraduate degrees in civil engineering, mechanical engineering, petroleum and energy resources engineering, material and metallurgical engineering, software engineering, computer science, business administration, and accounting. Postgraduate programs, MSc, and PhD in cutting-edge fields like aerospace engineering, space physics, systems engineering, geoinformatics and GIS, pure and applied mathematics, computer science, theoretical and applied physics, material science and engineering, petroleum and energy resources engineering, and MSc only in public policy, public administration, management of information technology, applied statistics, and mathematical modeling. Call 003-540-3714 or 006-272-9310 or visit www.aust.edu.ng.
Things they happen for our community, eh?
Now, I can recoup back all the money I have spent on this annoying family.
Hey, yeah, that woman own don't finish.
My dear, let's go and greet them, okay?
Join Media Coalition and Awareness to hold trafficking, MICAS, on I Wish I Knew radio drama and program every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. Join us to kick human trafficking out of our society. I Wish I Knew radio drama and program is brought to you by MICAS and funded by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Denmark.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
All right, we are back. Thank you so much for staying with us. If you are just joining us, this is Eagles Outlook live on Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja. And this morning on the program, we are looking at a very, very mind-boggling, situation that we are faced with in Nigeria, where Nigeria is now recording approximately 15,000 suicide deaths annually, with the stigma and criminalization of attempted suicide exacerbating the crisis. So we thought it wise to bring on board a mental health expert, to do justice to this topic of discussion. Coach Tega is right here in the studios. She is the founder of Flourish Life Center, a faith-based trauma-informed rehabilitation facility for women. And that aside, she's been able to help many people find help and rebuild resilience, and also rediscover purpose beyond addiction and mental health struggles. So in the course of the conversation before we went on that break, a number of questions were actually thrown at my guest. We had to explore all of the factors contributing to suicide cases in Nigeria, attempted or indeed a case of suicide in Nigeria. Is it that our parents are not doing enough in terms of having the right conversations with their wards and making them feel loved, because self-love is very, very important? Or we have a situation whereby the society is just messed up and people just get pressured unnecessarily, probably from what they see on social media or the standards that the society has been able to set over the years. All right, we also understand that the government perhaps has got a role to play. Before now, we were made to understand that attempted suicide could actually attract some sort of a punitive measure. But now the federal government is saying that they are going to decriminalize attempted suicide, and they are set in December to decriminalize attempted suicide in Nigeria. Now, you must know that the theme for this year's 2025 World Suicide Prevention Day is changing the narrative on suicide, creating hope through action. Now, how do we create hope when some Nigerians are of the school of thought that hunger, poverty, and hardship are the reasons why people have, decided to throw in the towel and take their own lives? But you really think that that is the case, or there is more to it? Indulge us on the show this morning. Call 090-8766-8888 or 090-7353-0044. Send a voice note or a message to the WhatsApp portal, and that will be 090-9705-44 and 50. For those watching us live on YouTube and Facebook, you can also leave a comment, and we'll be very glad to acknowledge your thoughts. Tell us what you make of this. Now, Coach Tega, let me ask you this, because you are Nigerian, I am Nigerian, and in terms of concerns around economic hardship, unemployment, hunger, poverty, some Nigerians actually think that life has been very, very difficult for the average Nigerian, and for some people who cannot take it anymore, the best option, unfortunately, and very sadly, is for them to take their own lives. Yeah. What do you make of the policies of the government so far?
Well, the new one, or
the present administration?
Well, when if a person hasn't walked a mile in your shoes, it's very difficult for them to understand what you're going through. People never, when they don't understand something, they condemn it. Until you have walked a mile in those shoes and you have empathy. If you've had a family member who's had a mental health disorder, then you will know that, this thing is not a moral failure. because that's what most people think is a moral failure. This one, what's wrong with you? You're not strong. What's wrong with you? Look at you. You're too lightweight. You know. But mental health disorders, they go deeper than that. It's not a moral failure really, and sometimes it's a bunch of it's a couple of hormones and a couple of chemicals in the brain. It's a couple of things that are put together. That's why sometimes you see that they give some people medication when they say they are depressed.
Right.
It depends on how mild or how severe it is. For some people, therapy can help them, walk through the process. Some people have to actually go through the medication protocol. So I would not say it's a moral failing. However, there might be contributing factors.
Right. And
of course, sometimes we feel like our government makes things harder for us, Sometimes we feel like, that's why you see the number of people who have left Nigeria. They may not be able to, because, there's this, when we want to make ourselves feel better, we'll say, look at you, you're working for the system. Every money you get, you put it back in the system. But when you put it back in the system, you get better light. You get, 24 hours electricity. Even if they take lights, you have an idea of when the lights will come. Right. The roads are good, better health care, and all of that. So those things make you feel like, it doesn't, even if I don't have plenty of money, there are things that make me feel comfortable. However, we have those kind of issues. We don't have those kind of, we don't have that kind of, luxury in Nigeria. Before the road you come from your house, the road might be so bad, because you may not even have the money to pay for an area that the roads are good. Let's say now you now stay in somewhere, like if the rent has skyrocketed in Abuja, for instance,
that's true,
more than double for many people. So they will probably leave that area and go and stay in another area. So now let me use a person I know as an example. They were staying in a very comfortable estate, and then their rent was doubled. Their income did not increase. So the man just said, well, I have been building a house in the outskirts. Let's move in there, and then we'll just keep coming to town from there. At least it's to take out the rent, expense. And so they moved there. Within a week, they were robbed. It caused a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder because they were having flashbacks. People could not sleep in the house. Any sound, anything that drops, they'll be like, oh my God, maybe they've come again. That was already causing a mental health disorder for them. Anxiety, panic attacks, and all of that. But they couldn't afford to move out of there, because the money they could have used to pay rent, maybe in that same place or somewhere else, they had taken that bulk money and tried to use it to finish the house and live in there like that. What would you say about a person like that? He would just look at you and say, Nigeria is happening to me. So when people say let Nigeria not happen to you, it's quite a number of things. That's like, people are not cared for. Citizens don't feel like the government really cares about them. So yes, that can be a thing.
All right, let's see if we can take this call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning to you. Kindly revert to the other studio number. I'll just hand down the numbers once again. You can send a voice note or a message to the WhatsApp portal number. The WhatsApp number is 090-9705-4450. The other number is 090-7353-0044. All right, let's just, try the other studio number and see if we can take your calls, because we've missed a couple of calls on this particular line, and I really can't understand what is going on, why we can't hear what you're saying. Is it the network or what? Now, Joseph from Jai sent in a message. He says, good morning, Eagles FM. In fact, suicide is now emanating from keeping, wrong partners, failure from businesses, disappointment, poverty and indebtedness, inability to repay loans, relationship, breakups, inflation, drugs, etc. Suicide, is a combination of multiple disadvantages. I don't know what you mean by that, Joseph, but thank you so much. I'm sure that you understand the point he's trying to make. Hello, good morning. Okay. I don't know. You have to keep trying. Let's see if you would get across soon enough. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Efe. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, please, I can hear you. All right. Good morning.
Yes, I greet your guest. My name is Mundi, from Nasarawa State.
Good to have you, Turkinby.
Yes, I want to quickly say that suicide is not an option and it can never be. no matter what we face, no matter what we go through. And mental health is real. And I must tell you that because of the economic challenges, many people who have mental health issues have resorted to going to religious houses for prayer. And sometimes some people say it works for them. And sometimes it does not work for some people. It's obvious, you can see. They keep going and going and going from one prophet to another, and it's not solved. You know, but having said that, your guests have listed a lot of factors. But I want to tell you that there's a factor of African magic also. A lot of these people who have mental health disorders is coming from the source that is devilish and satanic, not just a normal source. Your just have mentioned, like for example, I've seen where people are dragging land, and if you enter that land, you could have elephantiasis, and it's not something that you can argue about. If you try and enter some particular portion of land belonging to some people who are dragging it, you will see one of your legs. You will come out with elephantiasis. So the devilish aspect of it that causes people to have mental health can never be overemphasized. Thank you very much.
Kimbi, thank you so much. I think he's been able to strike a balance, you know, from the physical realm to the spiritual realm.
Life is spiritual.
Of course. And these things actually happen, you know, whether we like it or not. All right, 09087668888. Try that number and let's see. Or send a voice note or a message to the WhatsApp portal number on 09097054450. Hello, good morning. Okay. I hope this is not going to affect my mental health at the end of the day too. All right. I see this one. Well, you didn't mention your name, Sanusi from Suleja. Please do well to. Okay. All right. You did actually. He says life is actually full of ups and downs. It's not only full of a bed of roses. As a matter of fact, we must learn how to cope with stress. Because they are bound to happen. Believe in God and also believe in yourself. What's going to be is going to be. Problem shared is half solved. Needless to say, drug abuse is a no-go area. Right about now, we need more guidance, counselors than ever before. The rate of suicide is alarming, but things can always get better. God bless Nigeria. God bless Eagles FM. Sanusi, thank you very much. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning to you, Elder.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, please. Oh, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Elder.
All right.
Mental health.
Yes.
My sister, did you know say 35% of Nigerians have that type of thing?
35%?
That's 5% because of inflation. You will meet some people for road, they continue talking along.
Yeah.
Driving on the road, maybe somebody in your front is the home for him. No here.
So true.
Because he has not released this money and they have no room for it in the afternoon. And then the family, they are in neck. We affected the inflation. Affect people to have mental problems.
Absolutely.
And then the other one, it may heritage. And then the other one, it may come from evil spirit. And then suicide. Anybody committing suicide, that person is unwise person. If you don't have a mental disease. You see, there is nothing is impossible before God. If you see the life of somebody where he commit suicide, that person is not closer to God. Because any of your problem you take to God, God will stop it if you can wait patient. The problem we have in Nigeria today, you commit something to God and today, and then when God to do it. When God has the whole of this earth to take care of it. Patient, waiting, patient, God will resolve it. And then two, if you don't communicate with people, if you say you move with people where you have friends, they will advise in the way out. So somebody committing suicide is the most wise decision in the world. Because there's nothing in this world. God, where He placed in this world, God knows the purpose of placing you. And then He knows the purpose of keeping you in this world. Anything where you meet in the world, before you come to this world, God will plan it. And then God has a way to make you to escape it. But they don't read the Bible, they don't go to church. Even if they go to church, they are not a student of Bible. That's why you see, somebody who going to commit suicide. Taking that life, then the life will not belong to you. That's the purpose why God keep you with that life in this earth. Allow the purpose to achieve. But somebody go and hang himself, go and commit suicide, or not take drugs. That person, you suffer in this earth, and then the end of the day, you go to hell again. Thank you very much. God bless Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elder Naja, for your contribution on the program this morning. Now, another pertinent question that I should also squeeze in is the fact that federal government is set to decriminalize attempted suicide, December this year. Do you think that is going to be a step in the right direction? Don't you think it's going to enable this act even more?
No. I am so happy
really
that they are going to decriminalize it because, however, one thing that they can do alongside is make sure that we have these conversations. They should, find a way. Okay, like now, we know we have about maybe at one point, I'm not sure what the present statistics are, but I know that we have 200 million Nigerians here. And then the psychiatrists that we have are about fewer than 200 in Nigeria. So that means 1 person to 1 million people. So now more psychologists are getting, people are reading psychology more. Mental health, advocates and specialists are
springing up. Yeah.
And so it's helping, this matters. We must have these conversations. And then decriminalizing it will help because guess what? If they do that and then they make mental health services accessible and affordable, it will help us.
Okay.
Because why are you locking them up for 1 year? Someone has a mental health disorder. You now go and lock them up for 1 year. What are the chances that they will not even die by suicide in the cell as well? You have not treated it. It's a healthcare issue. It's not a moral failing. I really believe that. It's a healthcare issue. Many people have said spiritual. Yes. So if you integrate it, that's why I keep saying many things are collaborations. It's not a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah.
Oh, this is your own case. So, but when we criminalize it, why are you locking up a person who needs help? Why? To what end? The person, the definition of despair, complete loss of hope. The person doesn't see any way forward. There is no light in the tunnel, not to talk of at the end.
Yeah.
They can't see any way out, and they just think that the only way out is to take their own life. I have heard people say the hardship was so much, I wanted to, but I remember that who will take care of my children? We need to build mental muscle.
Okay.
Granted, a lot of people need to build resilience. Some people don't know how to take on hardship. I tell people that I have gone through stuff that will break a lot of people. But see, bouncing back is my middle name. No matter what it is. So when I hear people say, oh, if I'm going through a lot, this is what happened to me. And I'm like, this thing happened to me. So I was going through a lot. Do you understand what I'm saying? We must learn how to build mental muscle, build resilience. Things always get better. There is no way. But when a person has looked left, they've looked right, they can't find any way. The only thing they think is, let me just end it because this pain is too much.
Right.
It doesn't mean that the person needs to be locked up. Decriminalizing it, amazing.
Okay.
Added to that, we must make mental health services accessible.
All right.
And the more
and affordable too.
And affordable. Of course, accessible and affordable. And integrated into primary healthcare. Schools should have more counselors.
Okay.
Guidance counselors, that not just disciplinarians, when you just go to school, just say, this is what you have done, go and kneel down. No, let them counsel them properly. When people feel heard, they start to heal.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not just that you've given them a solution. When they start to talk, they just realize that, oh, okay, even them start to see that, oh, I'm getting a solution by myself just by talking about it. That's why we tell people to journal. That's why we say have a support system. There is a way you will have clarity when you are writing, and you just feel like, oh, okay, I could do it like this, I could do it like that. But many times we don't know how to get those things. Churches and mosques must create safe spaces for dialogue. They must preach compassion. When people feel like they have a safe space, they would find a way to go there and get help.
Right.
We had something done last month. It was called Women with Stories by Dr. Naomi Osemedwa. And then she spoke with the women that came in there that had issues that they needed to talk about. You have no idea what happened that day. Over how many women? Over 200 women just unburdening by speaking and crying. Expression. Your brain was not created to suppress for
knowing
too long.
also that they will not be stigmatized.
Fantastic, because it was a safe space. And we told them whatever we say here ends here, dies here. And then you could hear people were bringing unburdening. They were crying. There were hugs and all of that. And when a person expresses, I said something earlier, your brain is not created to suppress for too long. So your brain needs an outlet. So there are creative expressions that you can have. If you don't cry, your organs will cry. So you must find ways to let out all of these things. The most people who have some of these issues that would decide that, oh, life is so hopeless, are the ones that are keeping it in because of stigma.
Yeah.
So if you have someone that is a safe space you can talk to, it's just that I would say, if I tell them now, everybody will hear. Some people in church, they will say, oh, let us pray for Sister Tega. She's going through a lot in her marriage. You're not praying for me. You're gossiping about me. Next time, I'm not going to bring it up.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And even if people actively pray and they pray and they pray, when you finish praying, is someone going to go out and say, I tell you, waiting happen for prayer meeting to be? Do you understand what I'm saying? So those are the things.
All right. Well, time is not our friend. I see that you have a lot more to say, and I really wish you can go on and on with this conversation, but we just have to leave it here. Coach Tega is a passionate mental health advocate, recovery coach, and the founder of Flourish Life Center, a faith-based trauma-informed rehabilitation facility. I must say a very thank you to you for obliging us and lending your voice to this discourse this morning, despite the short notice.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. But I hope you'd actually oblige us when next to call on you.
I will be here.
Thank you very much. All right. We've missed a couple of calls, and I must also apologize to you. I don't know what's wrong, but the conversation continues. You can have a playback on this conversation across our socials. Leave a comment, and we'll be very, very glad to, acknowledge your thoughts. My name is Omo Hefe Peace Osemere, and it's a wrap for this week's edition